Hi everyone, this is Angel Leon, and welcome to Minority Mavericks. And in today's show, we have Elise Decamp, and she is the founder of Toki. So she's a founder and entrepreneur, and I'm really happy to have Elise in the show today. Elise, thank you for being on the show.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted.
Nice to have you, and thank you for taking the time. I know you're busy with your startup and all that, so I really appreciate you taking 15 minutes here to speak with me, and then be able to, of course, speak to the audience. But just to get things started, I wanted to go over your journey first, just so that our listeners get to know you a little bit more. So if you want to share your personal journey, your background, where you come from. And what is it that led you to become the entrepreneur and founder that you are today?
Yeah, so my path has been a bit winding. I wouldn't say it's a traditional path in any sense. I'm from Kentucky originally, and I went to a liberal arts school. And I guess the context that really helps here is that my parents founded businesses growing up. So they were involved with franchise businesses in the fast casual food space. And they took some really big risks in their lives and their careers. And so I think that's what really inspired me ultimately to take risks myself. It wasn't predetermined. It wasn't something that I thought that I would do in college or anything like that. Really, after college, I thought that I just need to survive.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? But yeah, I ended up here. I think after college, I ended up working for actually one of their businesses for a little bit in Kentucky. They had a chain of fast fashion women's clothing stores. And so I started working there and, set up their computer systems, did their photography, was doing a lot of different odds and ends, and realized that's what business was, is picking up and doing a lot of different things and learning a new thing every day. And so I liked that. I realized I liked that pretty early on. Yeah, and from there I went and started joined a few tech companies, and my mom actually worked at IBM growing up on top of having these businesses, and so I was introduced to tech fairly early, and that really led me to where I am today. There's definitely chapters within there that make it more winding than this direct kind of line that I'm explaining right now. But, in the back of my mind, I always knew that I enjoyed learning new things, and the entrepreneurial journey is exactly that. So
Definitely. Yeah, that's basically the heart of an entrepreneur right there, right? It's that entrepreneur mindset of never to stop learning, right?
Yeah.
The day you stop learning, then that's the day basically you stop being an entrepreneur, and innovation stops, right? And that's what this is all about.
Totally.
And the point, as you may know, of the show is to tell the perspectives of all of these stories, including yours, but from the minority perspective, whether you're Latino or Black or Asian or a woman, right? Part of the LGBTQ community, all those type of minorities. We're not necessarily focusing the show on a specific race, right? This is about minority groups. Therefore, there's a lot of non-race, right? Type of minorities that are also struggling. And to that point, I would like for you to tell our audience, more than anything else, as an entrepreneur yourself, you likely face a lot of numerous challenges along your way. And I would like for you to kind of bring those up to life, just so that the people are aware, the people are listening, right, are aware of all those challenges that you faced.
Yeah. I mean, it's wild because as an entrepreneur, you're dealing with, there's probably 12 large obstacles that come in your way in a given day. And it's a roller coaster every single day. And, this is my second business. My first business was in the retail space with products, and, we had obstacles every day related to, packages getting stolen and goods not getting produced in time. And, there's always something. And today we have different challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have challenges related to bugs in our software. And so anyways, it's all to say, we all have many challenges as founders. And then it's wild to get this other layer added on top of it, that is being a minority. And growing up, I was colorblind, or I didn't see these things. I didn't think about the fact that I was a woman. It wasn't something that I thought about very frequently. I fairly, I don't want to say masculine, but kind of agnostic in this way. And so it shocked me to run into situations like at conferences where I'd have a conversation with someone, they'd ask, well, where is your boss? Is he here? Things like that, write a whole novel about random interactions that I've had that are based on kind of the patriarchy that is our society. And, it's just been fuel, fortunately for me. I don't think that that's the case for everyone. That can be quite disheartening. It can, if you see enough of it. But I've really just kept a tally, and it's like a tally in my book of motivation to kind of keep pushing forward. It's really hard. We've raised, venture capital for Toki, my current business, and I should know this. I don't know the percentage of venture capital that goes to women. I know it's tiny. Right? You might know this.
Definitely. It's about right now, all in all, it is about 5% that's being actually allocated for minority groups. In general, that's again including all kinds of groups, not just racial, ethnicity type of groups, but any kind. LGBTQ, for example, is one of those very big examples right now. That the allocation for them, it's about 1%.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. I mean, it's really, really hard, and it just gets harder. I think about this a lot now. I'm in my early 30s, and I have many female founder friends that are mothers now, and I see how they're incredible, how hard it is to do what they do. They these women can't go to conferences and spend the allocated amount of time that they need to in order to get the upper hand in sort of this competitive startup environment that they're in, because they've got 2 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think about this a lot right now, and think about how we don't have that support for women to do this. And they're superheroes, really, just among us.
Yeah. Definitely. And that's another add-on, right, to the struggle. So it's like what you said earlier, it's the struggle of just being young. Then you go through the struggle of being a woman, then you struggle with the access to that capital, and you also struggle, and just it just keeps adding on to the point where that's probably, my thoughts is that that's probably why we have these very wild ratios right now in terms of, capital allocation for startups and things like that. And, it's because of this high risk, or quote unquote, right, high risk associated with minority groups. And I think it's a fictitious thing. I don't think it exists. I feel that minority people have, in some sort of way, a lot more dedication, a lot more perseverance, and they can, I feel that they can accomplish a lot more in some sense, just because of how we're brought up, right, and how we have been struggling with different things. And again, this has nothing to do with race, right? White women still struggle nowadays, and to me that's just mind blowing. But to that end, though, and you mentioned Toki as well. I would like for you to talk a little bit about what Toki is, how you started it, why you started it, and that'll be, pretty cool for our audience to listen to.
Yeah, so Toki is a retention software. We help brands and businesses increase their customer loyalty and repeat purchase rate through our software. And most of my background was in e-commerce software. And so this was really a natural evolution for me to ultimately build something in the space. For me, I really wanted to be an investor. That was kind of growing up. I would say the way I saw it is the investor has this perspective on the world that is very enlightening because they get the opportunity to learn all the time from all these businesses that come to them for funding. And so that was ultimate, honestly, for me. And when I worked my way, I kind of hustled, did the whole grind, I networked my butt off to get into that role. I realized it wasn't all that I had glamorized it to be, and that, the real wonderful part of life is the challenging building something from zero. And so I kind of jumped ship to be a founder again. But during that time as an investor, I did see that the retention landscape was empty. It was kind of green pastures for someone to build something that is different than the current offering. And so, yeah, that's how it came to be. I jumped ship, hustled to raise some money, and that was about a year ago. Yeah.
Right. Interesting, because I know you all have a background on e-commerce as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting that you took that and you're basically on the same realm of things, right? But at a different level. So I really like that kind of jump, and it's very interesting. And I'm a fan of what you guys are building there at Toki. I think it's very, very cool. And in terms of what you guys do at Toki, and the loyalty, right, that you guys are kind of trying to promote for businesses to build these loyalty programs and things like that. How what do you think, or how do you feel, or how is it that Toki is dealing with diversified rewards and the law of diminishing marginal utility? That those are very important, like, economic concepts for you guys, I would say. And so how do you see these principles like playing out in the context of your business, right, in Toki?
Yeah, I think it's twofold, because we think about that in regards to how we engage with our customers, and then we think about how our customers are engaging with their customers.
Right.
So, I think that's a really interesting question for us. When we think about our customers, we want to build this product that is everything they could ever want. It's a surprise and delight type of experience where, we're collecting a ton of feedback from them on their challenges and what would excite them, so that we don't have sort of a diminishing return, that we have no churn, and that they're constantly excited by the features that we're giving them to play with. And that's a challenge. Like, that's not something that's the norm at all in software. I mean, most times you build a product and then you don't change it ever again. It is what it is. It's this concrete thing. And it's not, it's Twitter versus Stripe, I guess I would say, right? Stripe's constantly offered new features, new products, it's continued to build. Twitter's been the same since the beginning of time. I mean, I guess it's changed a little bit recently. But anyway, so that's how we think about kind of these diversified rewards in regards to feature set for our customers. And then, with the hope that, we don't have churn as a result. And then, and same goes, that's because we have that perspective and are able to think about that in regards to our customers. We kind of have a good sense of how our customers are thinking about that for their customers. So, yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, definitely. It's crazy though to even talk about it, and to it's more of a systemic inequality, right? To the
Hmm.
point where we have to even think about how and what kind of products or partnerships, right? Do you have to potentially get with that support minority groups, right?
Hmm.
That have products and goods that are well set for white people, for black people, for Asians, for everyone, right?
Hmm.
And that's all part of the systemic inequality currently in
Yeah.
all industries. This, of course, we're referring here mostly to the technology industry and startup worlds, right, more than anything else. But we see this
Absolutely.
everywhere. Doesn't matter, right?
Hmm.
Stores, the e-commerce doesn't matter. So it's really interesting, to see that. And it's really interesting that you guys are building something that kind of, glues a lot of things together. It's more of a community, I would say, right? That
Yeah.
these people are building. It's not just this loyalty program of me buying, the same thing over and over and over just to get a discount. But it's building that community now. I'm part of this brand, right? I vouch for this brand. I talk to my
Hmm.
friends about it, right? I
Hmm.
recommend it to everyone I see. So I feel that you're building a community. It's a very strong, powerful tool that Toki is building. So thank you for that. And
Absolutely.
to that end, I would like for you to take maybe this last few minutes here to talk to your audience. In this case, mostly focus on women, right? And tell them about your challenges and how you overcame them. So more of an advice type of thing. If you want to just, talk to them for a little bit and just, kind of give them that piece of advice and how is it that they can go forward to wherever they want to go, right? You have an impressive background as well, right? Given that you've you've been through a lot of different things that are not necessarily in some sort of way related to each other. Somehow you have managed to kind of make that happen, and somehow it does look like everything connects with each other in some sort of way. But you navigate it different ways through your professional career all the way to where you are today. So I would love for you to talk to your audience right now and just give them a piece of advice.
Yeah, for sure. There are a few things that I feel like are worth touching on. One of the most beneficial things that I have done recently is to surround myself with people that are either in the same boat as me or they're a couple steps ahead of me, just a hair ahead of me all the time. And that's even, co-working if you can on a regular basis and just sitting next to someone that's also a founder that's where you are or a little bit ahead of you is incredibly helpful. Bonus points if they are diverse and can have the same grit and
Perspective.
adversity, perspective, that so you can relate to. But I think that has been, you just by association learn so much, and even though they might be in a different category than you, you're both trying to sell a product, and so there's things that you can share in a variety of ways. And so I think that's been very, very, very helpful. I would have done that sooner.
Cool.
Um, Second, I would say definitely listen to your gut. It's so easy to talk down to yourself and think that other people around you might know better than you or have been through this before. Well, I guess I'm counter argument to what I just said, but there's going to be people that sound very confident about what you should do, and yet there's no way ever that they've been exactly in your shoes. So while you should surround yourself with people that have a lot of experience, you should also listen to your gut, because you ultimately know what is right. And so giving yourself space and time to listen to yourself is something I personally am not very good at. So I had to carve that out for myself and make sure I am setting aside time uninterrupted by social media or anything, to just kind of just think, just kind of let my mind wander around the business and strategy and things like that.
Definitely. Yeah. In today's world, there's so much information, right? And it's very easy to, it's so easy to it's so hard. Well, it's not easy. It's actually hard to to gather all that feedback, right, and then process it all. And so I love that advice in terms of keep true to yourself, listen to yourself, right? You open up your mind to feedback and advice, of course, from people that have done things that you want to accomplish as well, right? You should always be open to that. But at the same time, like you said, it's all about you, right? What's better for you. You only know yourself more than anyone else. And I love that. I love that advice. So I hope everyone listening takes on to that. Other than that, thank you so much, Elise, for being on the show. It was great to listen to your story. I hope that everyone that listened today listens that, it doesn't matter whether you are part of a minority group or not. There's people out there like Elise that were able to navigate the industry, these very, very hard industries to navigate through as a minority group. So there's hope. People have done it. We hope that, we can keep continuing doing this for all minority groups out there. So thanks again, Elise, for being on the show.
Thank you. I'm delighted to have done this. So thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. So yeah, thanks again, everyone, for listening. And this was Angel Leon, your host. And again, this is the show Minority Mavericks. And this is all about listening to the stories of all minority entrepreneurs, founders, and investors out there. See you next time.